This is the Yard Force MB400 robot lawnmower. Quite a low cost one, comes in about £400 and really does deliver more value for money than you might expect. It uses a perimeter wire to go around your garden and show you where the limits of what the cut should be. And from then on it just bounces back and forward, and you can see here the relatively random nature of how it cuts. The garden size I've got is much bigger than it was recommended for, and I was interested to see if it could cope with it, particularly with the random nature of the cut. As you can see here, at the end of the first day, it's managed to cover quite a bit, but it's far from having covered everything. But surprisingly, as the days went on, it bit by bit managed to cover the whole garden. And later on you'll see I'll leap forward to the following year where the lawn is perfect. It uses a Bluetooth app to control the periods where it goes out to cut, and you can control different days of the week, etc. You can see here at the end of day 3 or 4, there's still some patchiness, but after about a week it had all evened out. You can see here when it hits the perimeter wire, it simply reverses, does a U-turn, and goes off in another random direction. I had initially set it too low. As you can see here, the grass has dried out a bit, but I later increased the cut height, and that was much better. The mower doesn't have any sensors on it to detect that object, so light things will be pushed out the way. Thin things like a t-shirt will be shredded, and heavy objects it will bang into, stop, reverse and cut off in a different direction. There is an emergency stop button. If you just want it to stop, push the big button and it will stop. You can then pick it up, turn it in a different direction, or just leave it until whatever reason you stopped it for has gone away. The knob in the middle is what you rotate to adjust the cut height. The controls on the top allow you to stop and continue, or using the house button you can send it home to its little garage. After the first few days we realised it was doing a little bit of scarifying as well, but that stopped after the first week. It was actually quite useful. It picked up some of the moss in its initial cut, but that all stopped after the first week. Here you can see how to connect it to power. You will need an external mains socket in your garden in order to power the mower. When it's finished its cut cycle and run out of power, it will go to the perimeter and follow the perimeter wire right back to its home. You can see here how far away it is from the side wall, so you will end up with a little bit of strimming to do if you follow the guidelines on how far away from the edge to put the wire. You can also get it to do an edge trim where it just follows the wire all the way around, cutting as it goes, and it does leave quite a neat edge, as you can see here. Here you can see the cables when they go in the back of the garage, and you've got 2 channels to avoid interference between different neighbours who might have the same mower. The wire comes into the front of the garage, goes underneath it initially, and then pops up through a little hole. And this is so that when the wire is inside the garage, the mower will follow that wire carefully right up to the charging point. It then disappears down into a little hole and goes underneath it and around the back. So it'll follow that cable so that it can plug in accurately to these 2 metal prongs. These are the charging prongs, and it has to line up in order to do that. Here comes the mower. It's going to try and line itself up, but it's quite clever, and if it doesn't get it right on the first time, it will reverse out and have another go. And that's what happens here this time. The mower will automatically charge, and these 2 flashing lights on the back will indicate that the charge is in progress. One year on, having been left to its own devices and not manually cut in any way, you can see the lawn's perfect. It has just day after day done its job. We took it out the garden during the winter, put it back out in the spring, and it just day after day does a perfect job. It's great. So to round up, the 400 has exceeded my expectations. It has cut a garden larger than it was designed for. It has been reliable day after day, come rain, hail or shine. It has gone out and cut the grass. You're meant to really not use it when it's raining, but I forgot about that and it just keeps going. We're into our second year now. There's been no problems at all. We haven't replaced the cut blade. The only thing I did was I took it out of the garden during the winter months to protect it from snow, etc. But it's exceeded our expectations. I don't know really what I would have benefited by spending thousands of pounds on a more expensive one, because I couldn't have got a better result. So I would thoroughly recommend the MB400, and in price terms it's probably a bargain.